Nvidia had an amazing day. As I am recording, the stock is up over 3%. And on today's episode, I first want to start off by looking at, unfortunately, some competition that is picking up for Nvidia. I say the word competition loosely, but there is something investors should be familiar with. Next, what I want to do is take a closer look at an investment Nvidia made earlier today. And after that, I want to discuss some semiconductor news that every type of semiconductor and AI investor might want to learn. So let's take a closer look in today's episode. But first, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Check out the pinned comment for a special offer at fool.com/Jose and also for my free daily semiconductor newsletter. Now, let's get started.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, like I mentioned, Nvidia is doing pretty great today. The stock was up roughly 3%. And overall, it seems like most of the semiconductor and tech market was up today. All right, so I mentioned at the beginning there's going to be some discussion about competition, and Broadcom is the first competition I want to discuss. Broadcom, ticker AVGO, is a company that helps big tech players design their own AI chips. One of the big players is Google, right? So Google with their TPU is done thanks to Broadcom's custom AI ASIC solution. So we can see Broadcom today was up roughly 6.6%. On the news that reports, and we're going to get earnings from Broadcom tomorrow, so we might get kind of a final confirmation. But right now, Broadcom soars on reports it's helping Apple develop an AI chip. So this is kind of the first competition we're seeing where kind of big tech is designing their own ASIC chip for the AI space. I've talked about this in the past where I don't believe this is a big threat for Nvidia right now, but it is beneficial. I've talked about it many times where this is not a one winner takes all. The AI market is growing at such rapid levels, and the total addressable market continues to increase that both players in forms of ASIC solutions and your typical GPUs can benefit without really cannibalizing each other. The other thing is this is a supply constrained market, so it gives vast opportunity for all the players. So not necessarily bearish for Nvidia, but it does kind of showcase the competition heating up here. And Apple finally, I feel like Apple was definitely dragging themselves here with the AI space. Now, the next one I want to say has probably a little bit more of a competitive landscape against Nvidia. So Synopsys is a company that helps design chips, right? You kind of use their software for the design process, and they also have tools for kind of validating that design verification. And the stock right now, year to date, is pretty much flat after reporting earnings. The stock took a massive hit. But Synopsys did announce that they are showcasing the IP needed for the open standard solution to scale AI's accelerator infrastructure. And the two things that they're doing is Ultra Ethernet IP and UA-Link IP. So these are with big players that are collaborating on helping kind of destroy the moats that Nvidia has with their InfiniBand and with their NVLink. So here's a cool image. So Ultra Ethernet is going to be the ability to kind of support up to 1 million nodes for massive AI scale out. And then you have UA-Link. So Ultra Ethernet is to kind of connect all the servers within each other and help communicate really quickly, right? That's what Nvidia does really well. And then UA-Link enables scaling of AI clusters of up to 1,024 accelerators. So this is a great image, in my opinion, of showcasing what Ultra Ethernet and UA-Link do. So again, this is what's going to help some of these other players outside of Nvidia combat kind of this moat and strength that Nvidia has in the AI infrastructure space. Now, one thing I want to say, Nvidia is already doing this, right? And they continue to innovate. So they're going to get better and better and better at it. This is going to be kind of the first generation of this platform. So they're still kind of far behind Nvidia. But again, I do believe this is going to give the opportunity for other AI accelerator players to benefit in this huge AI market. So again, nothing necessarily bearish for Nvidia as long as the company continues to innovate. Now, I mentioned that Nvidia also had an investment And Ayar Labs has investments from Intel, Nvidia, and some other players as well, with about $155 million. So I'm just going to call it A Labs. This is a company that's focusing on developing optical I/O technology, and optical I/O technologies is very important to replace electrical I/O that is standard-based. And optical I/O input-output allows customers to maximize the compute efficiency and performance of their AI infrastructure while reducing cost and power consumption to dramatically improve profitability metrics for AI applications. So we can see this is very important. One interesting thing that I found here is 3M also invested here. I didn't know 3M was in the AI space, but hey, look, a secret AI company. The final thing I think I have here for Nvidia, and then we'll cover some other semiconductor news, is we've talked about it in the past 2 days. The China opens antitrust probe against Nvidia. And now there are reports kind of discussing what are some of the potential fines. The potential fines based on this allow up to 10% of the company's annual revenue based on China. So in Nvidia 2023, Chinese revenue was around $10.3 billion. So there is the possibility that Nvidia could get hit with about a $1 billion fine if this comes out. They mentioned even for severe cases, the fines can be doubled or quintupled, potentially even reaching 5. So this is going to be interesting to see where it goes. And this isn't the first time China has done this. In 2013, they fined Qualcomm for 8% of their overall sales. So interesting here, something we're going to keep a closer eye on, but could definitely create a lot of short-term noise for Nvidia. In forms of long-term, this is not something that would worry me at all. Now, I want to kind of enter more into the semiconductor space. And if you want to learn about the semiconductor space, I actually have this pretty cool newsletter called What the Chip Happened, where every day at the morning, I release this newsletter with 3 major events. And the first thing I discussed was Department of Commerce awards CHIPS incentives to Micron for Idaho and New York projects to help kind of secure DRAM project here domestically. And DRAM obviously is very important as that is kind of the base needed for HBM. Some other things that we discussed here were I talked about Marvell Technology. Marvell Technology yesterday announced 3 major updates. One was a custom high bandwidth memory architecture that AI players can use, or big tech players can use on their ASIC solution. Again, more competition, very similar to Broadcom. And they also did announce numerous new networking solutions. So Marvell Technology is doing pretty well, in my opinion. One that we talked about earlier on, I'm not adding to it at the moment, but definitely one that I enjoy in my overall portfolio. Next, we have ON Semiconductor, and ON Semiconductor is one I do enjoy. I'm currently buying this. Obviously, there are other companies that I'm buying. I do enjoy ON Semiconductor. I believe the long term is pretty good. December 10th, they did have an event. And in this event, again, you can check it out at What the Chip Happened. And the company announced kind of a recent acquisition that they're doing. They're focusing on EV and AI. And the reason they're focusing in AI is now AI servers are requiring hundreds of kilowatts, and electric vehicle transitioning from electromagnetic to solid state solutions are also increasing the forms of electrical power. So the company is focusing on scaling up these solutions. So over here, I talked about kind of their margin stability. ON Semiconductor, unfortunately, right now is kind of in the downtrend thanks to the overall car market, but them in kind of increasing their solutions in AI servers, in industrial systems, in electrical vehicles, I do believe bodes well for the company in the long term of things. Now, next we had TSM yesterday did report their monthly numbers, and unfortunately, it did drop about 12% from its October record highs, but it is up 34% year over year. Now, on a monthly basis, I don't think it's anything to worry about. I mean, come and go. If things come and go, I believe it's most likely going to be more in the mobile business, and the PC business might be a little bit weaker than expected. But I think overall, the AI space is really, really here to stay. The final topic that I want to discuss is a latest industry forecast projects a surge in global semiconductor manufacturing equipment, reaching a record-breaking 2026. And this is going to grow in 2024, about 6.5%. Then it's expected to grow in 2025 to 121 billion, and then expected to grow in 2026 to 139 billion. So overall, the advancements in things like AI computing, HBM, gate-all-around is pushing both wafer fab and back-end equipment sales higher. So again, I've talked about this in the past. Equipment companies, in my opinion, are very, very cheap right now. And I believe for long-term investors, these are also opportunity. So definitely, I've done plenty of videos, but here's a lot of semiconductor news for the day. Like I mentioned, the front end was covered with a lot of Nvidia news. The back end was covered with more semiconductor news in general. So take care, have a good day, and see you next time.